Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're joining us in person or on YouTube or Instagram TV. This is the Harbor College Transfer Center, and we present to you our UC Transfer Admission Planner Workshop, which is where you will learn all about the UC Transfer Admission Planner and its usefulness in supporting you in saving and optimizing your time while you work on the UC transfer process. My name is Natalie Para, and I'm a counselor at the Harbor College Transfer Center, and I'm just going to be sharing some tips and tricks to help you save your time with the UC TAP. So today we're going to be covering quite a bit of information on the agenda. We're going to be going over what is TAP, what are the benefits of using TAP, optimizing UC TAP for transfer success, and then also just diving a little bit into the UCs, because I can talk about TAP, but if students are not comfortable or familiar with the UCs and all the benefits of attending and transferring to a UC, I feel like it still can be a little bit intimidating for a student to go ahead and make a TAP. So we also want to establish that confidence in the student that you belong at a UC or University of California campus, and just setting some new information for students that might not be familiar of the amazing opportunities available for our community college students at University of California institutions. So what is UC TAP? So the UC TAP is the UC Transfer Admission Planner, and we are going to do a demo of that, so stay tuned because we will go over how it looks and how to create an account. So the UC TAP is a free online tool to help prospective UC transfer students track and plan their coursework. It's designed to use by students who are interested in transferring from a California community college to a UC, and it also helps students tag a UC or get transfer admission guarantee to one of the 6 tag campuses, and we'll go over those too. And when you use your transfer admission planner, you can put in all of your classes, so that's why it's a nice idea when you do your TAP account to have your transcripts ready. If you went to only Harbor College, wonderful, you can get them from your portal. Now, some of my students, they'll go to, a number of campuses. I've had students, they have transcripts from North Dakota, Northern California community colleges, and Harbor, Santa Monica College even, and they still can use a TAP. So it's not exclusive for students who only have units from a California community college or only from Harbor College. If you have units from anywhere in the United States, and in fact anywhere in the world, I've helped students with international university transcripts, you can put all of that information into TAP, and it just saves hours of time later on down the line. So you're actually doing a wonderful service for yourself by putting in those records. And the planner also helps students track their progress towards meeting UC's minimum requirements. It will allow you to communicate with UC staff about different information, transfer information for students. They invite students to do different activities. So it's just a wonderful resource for students, and it just really streamlines the transfer process. So what are the benefits of using TAP? So I like to call it the ultimate time saver because time is a precious resource for students especially. So when you input all of your classes into TAP, wonderful things happen. Like it will help you calculate your transfer GPA to get an idea of what you can do to raise or maintain your GPA for UC TAG, transfer admission guarantee, and just for UC admission overall, because we all want to know where we're at with our GPA and what we can do to set new goals for ourselves for that GPA to get into those dream campuses. And the UCs are great at being transparent on what the minimum GPAs are. We'll go over that a little bit, so that way you have a better idea of what to expect and how to plan accordingly. Now, when it's time to apply for TAG, it is done through your TAP account. So completing your TAP early, aka right now, April 2021, right, for example, is when we're recording this workshop. But by getting it done now, it saves you hours of time later, and you don't have to start all over every single time. So that's the beauty of it. And then when it's time to actually apply to the UCs, having a TAP account allows you to load your TAP information into the UC application, saving you hours of time. So again, saving the hours of time, because you're also in school, you're trying to do assignments. A lot of my students are parents, they have a family, they're caregivers to their loved ones, whether it be parents, grandparents, siblings, right? And have a lot of responsibilities outside of school. So when you're doing something like TAP, it just helps save hours of time, and you never have to start all over because it saves everything for you. So now we just talked about TAG and how TAP helps students tag a UC. What is UC TAG? Like I said before, it's UC Transfer Admission Guarantee, and these select campuses participate in UC Tag. So you can tag one of these schools, and you'll be guaranteed admission to that campus and that major as long as you meet the guidelines. So that includes UC Davis in Northern California, UC Irvine, which is on the way to Disneyland a little bit. I would say like in the general Orange County area. UC Merced is also in Northern California. UC Santa Barbara is in the Central Coast, so probably about 2-ish hours away from Harbor College. UC Santa Cruz is also very up north in Northern California. UC Riverside is on the way to the mountains here in SoCal, and that is also another one in closer proximity to Harbor College. So the closest ones to Harbor would be UC Irvine, UC Riverside, and then the third closest would be UC Santa Barbara. Now, sometimes my students wonder, well, how can I get guaranteed admission? Do I need a 4.0 to get guaranteed admission to a UC? Absolutely not. And we talked about how, the UC TAP account will help you calculate your transfer GPA and things like that. So just to show students for transparency, right, depending on your major, these are the GPA minimums that you need to tag a UC or to get the guaranteed admission. So Davis is a 3.2 to a 3.5, very fair. Irvine is a 3.4. UC Merced is a 2.8 to a 3.0. Santa Barbara, 3.4 for all majors. Santa Cruz is a 3.0. And the fairest of them all, UC Riverside, is a 2.7 to a 3.0 minimum depending on the major. So what that means is they're very inclusive of students, with a mix of different academic records. So that way students can have an opportunity to take advantage of a guaranteed admission. Now the rules for TAG vary by major, by campus. So that's why you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to meet with a counselor. I'm glad to meet with you just to go over what campus would be the best one for you to tag. And we'll also do a little demo really quickly of TAP. So I'm just going to show you how it looks really quickly. So give me one moment. So the TAP website looks just like this. You can actually Google UC TAP and it will appear, but it's also going to be in the actual YouTube description. When you click on the down arrow, it'll give you the link to actually go to the site. So the TAP website looks like this. It's presented by the University of California Admissions website. And like it says, prepare, transfer, succeed. So for a student who's brand new to TAP and they've never used it, you're gonna want to create an account right here. So when you create the account, you put in all your information here. You make an ID, password, all of these elements need to be in the password. And then they ask you a security question and you continue. So I'm going to show you how my TAP account looks as a transfer center, because the transfer center did make a pretend TAP account. So as you can see, the transfer center wants to tag UC Riverside for fall 2021, and status is started not submitted, which is not good because that deadline passed September 1st or 30th. But this is how it looks. So let's say that a student made their account, right? So it's going to ask you, as you can see on this left-hand side, it'll show you a breakdown of everything that they need from you. So this is the personal information, right? As you can see, the demographic information, you can put your first language that you learned to speak, military service, parental information about their education, gender, your ethnicity and your identity that you wish to include, resources. So they have resources for student parents or students with dependents or children, 85-14 undocumented students, and our LGBT students. So they have all that information here for students. After that, they'll also ask support program involvement. So you would put here any programs that you participate in. My hope is that a lot of my students are participating in the UCLA Center for Community College Partnerships program, which is a partnership that we at Harbor College have with UCLA, where our students get a lot of wonderful transfer support. And there's also the STOMP conference. We had one that just passed last week, but there are future STOMP conferences. They have a STOMP conference every year, but participating in these kinds of programs are wonderful. And then, of course, our Harbor College students, a lot of them participate in Puentistas. You want to check off that one. EOPS students, we have a wonderful EOPS program, great CalWorks. Our Umoja program, also another wonderful one. So you want to make sure, and also if you're getting the College Promise grant, If you're in any other programs, you can also list them out too. So that's a good thing about it. See how they have, like, let's say LA Harbor College, you want to add that you're in, for example, KFES or Next Up. You can put that there too. So that's just another way of indicating all the programs that you participate in. And don't forget to include that Board of Governors fee waiver if you are an LA College Promise student or Harbor Promise, right? So they'll ask you that information. Account settings is like the username, password. Now the schools attended, that's where you put your academic history. Now this is just an example. So this student went to San Pedro High School and Harbor College, right? Now let's say a student went to San Pedro High School, just like in this example, but they went to like maybe 3 or 4 different colleges. You want to list every single college that you've attended here, because the UCs do need students to be transparent. And they, trust me, they do not frown upon a student for going to 5 different colleges, 10 different colleges. They don't frown upon that. What they frown upon is when a student does not share transparently all the colleges that they've attended. So as long as you add all the information of your history, that will only help your application. Hiding things, not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. The next section is coursework, and this is where you load in all the classes you've ever taken. So in this example, the student only went to Harbor College, so they put in, they'll refer to their transcripts on one tab maybe, right, and then put in all of their grades for every semester. And this is just an example, right? Now let's say that the student also went to Santa Monica, so you want to make sure that you add your Santa Monica class. So let's say, for example, add a course. Now if I had transcripts from another school, let's say I also went to, I don't know, West LA College, one of our sister schools. West LA would have appeared in the drop down if I had added it to the school's attended section, okay? And you want to put exactly the terms that you did by looking at your transcript, because you want specific days, okay? Or excuse me, dates. Now you can search a class. So let's say in this example we're doing Harbor, right? So let's say fall 2019. I took history. Let's say I took history 86. Did I type it wrong? No courses were found that match your search string. Like California community colleges. Oh, maybe I typed it wrong. Uh-oh, sorry. Oh, okay. See, if I type in history just all by itself, and let's say I took history 86, then it'll come up just like this. Then you say, okay, fall 2019 already passed, so it is completed, right? So let's say I got an A in the class. And if look, in this case, if this course was used to repeat a prior course, please select it from the list. See how it knows? In a previous one, I put that I got a D in history 86. So I'm putting that it was used as a repeat for my first history 86 class, and I add it. And now see, it knows fall 2019, I got an A in the class, and it seeing how now it has a special note, repeated with history 86 in fall 2019, repeat of history 86 in fall 2018. So now it knows my GPA, right? It rebalances it for me. So when we look at the bottom, it gives me my transfer GPA, which is a 3.5, which is wonderful, right? A student might say, oh no, I took a class and I got a D in it before. Like in this example, right? Does that mean I can't transfer to a UC because my GPA is low? No, they do know to rebalance your GPA with the repeated classes. They honor them for those students and forgive, and it reflects appropriately in the transfer GPA. And then it notices, it keeps track of your UC eligibility of the 7 course pattern, which is the minimum GEs you need, So it keeps track of that for you. You also can add your AP scores, right? So let's go to that one. So let's say I took AP Spanish, right? And let's say I took AP Spanish language and I took it in, I don't know, I think normally students take it in May 2016, right? And I got a 3, which is passing. You can add it, and then that's how you put in your AP scores. And then you can do where and when I plan to transfer. Now this is the good part, right? Because then each campus, let's say I want to do Berkeley for business, right? Davis, let me see, I think Davis has it under economics. Irvine, business admin. UCLA has business econ. So all the UCs have different titles for their majors, right? So in this example, the student was a business admin major, but not all the schools have business admin. Some of them have econ, business econ. Santa Barbara, for example, they do it. I think it's business, or I think it's econ and accounting. I think that's how they put it on there. I can't remember off the top. Yeah, it's econ and accounting. So it depends on the campus that you want to go to. So that's why I like to explain to my students, don't think that the UC doesn't have your major because it's not very common at a UC. We can look through, research, and see what would be a good fit for you. A lot of my students, they are under the impression that certain majors just don't exist at UCs, and we'll go over that a little bit too. Now, another thing, it asks you down here, it says select the UC transfer programs you might be interested in preparing for. One says UC transfer pathways. You can indicate that here if you'd like, and that's just a set of courses that meet the minimum major prep for for select UCs, excuse me. The one that I really want my students to check off is UC TAG, Transfer Admission Guarantee. See how it already knows you do not show as having 30 semester units completed. You do not show as planning to have 60 units completed before your transfer term. You appear to have 4 gaps in your education. Now, this is not meant to dissuade a student from applying for TAG, but it's to alert the student like, hey, if you have this red box here saying TAG review, that means you want to go see a counselor, make an appointment. So that way, let's say me, for example, it says I'm not going to have 30 units. That means I want to go see a counselor and see how they can help me plan to make sure I will have 30 units at the time that I do tag at UC. See how it gives me the filing dates? So it says fall 2022. Filing period for tag would be September 1st to 30th. So I would need to have my 30 units by September 1st. So that means I know I'm going to need to see the counselor, see if I can plan some summer school, get some second 8-week classes, things like that, right? Now for my students that are trying to get in for winter quarter, to Santa Cruz, Riverside, and I believe Merced are the 3 that do winter quarter in July. May, I can tag those schools, but I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row for that deadline as well of having the 30 transferable units. So we want to make sure that this is meant not to scare a student and dissuade a student, but to alert them to start, getting in touch with their counselor to start planning, okay? And then see this magic button right here, apply for a transfer admission guarantee. When it is September 1st, for example, for fall tag, that is when you get to start doing your tag application. So see Harbor College, fall 2021, Riverside. In this case, the next tag cycle would be for fall 2022. Let's say I still want to tag Riverside. See how it says the majors offered for a tag might not include those offered by a campus during the UC application filing period. That means you want to see a counselor. So that way we can make sure that your major works for tag at that campus, okay? Sometimes not all majors are available for tag, so that's why we will sit down together, look at the tag matrix, and see from there what campus would be the best one at tag. Okay, and then see how it gives us this little note here. The tag filing period for fall 2022 is September 1st to 30th and is currently closed. That means come back September 1st to 30th to fill this part out, okay? And then apply for transfer admission. The wonderful thing is it takes you right into your UC application account. Transfer Center has one of those too. See how we can do a new application for a different term. Transfer, junior level, 60 to 89 units. And then from there, it will let you continue. Uh-oh, there are some errors below. Transfer, junior level. I wonder because it's not ready yet. The application technically hasn't opened. Oh no. But it will let you go into your UC application and it will allow you to put in your login information from TAP and load in all of your classes. So all the classes that you put in the coursework, the academic history, that all can go into your UC application. And then you don't have to do this all over again. It's all pre-saved for you. So that is the demonstration component, and now we're going to go into a little bit more information about the UCs. So like I said before, when you are looking to try to find the best campus to tag, you want to look at the UC tag matrix. We will definitely do that together during a counseling appointment especially, and it gives us all the rules about tag. We'll go over a little bit more information. about the UCs though for now. So UCs, I just want to, make sure that students are familiar with understanding that the UCs are affordable. I know their cost of attendance looks higher than a Cal State, but that is just the sticker price. That does not mean that is your bill that you're going to be paying. In fact, 2 out of 3 students receive financial aid at a UC. The system-wide tuition and fees can also be fully covered by scholarship and grant money as long as the student's family income or household income, is less than $80,000 annually, and that is called the Blue and Gold Opportunity Program. What that means is tuition and fees are covered, and it's one less thing for a student to worry about. The Cal States don't really have anything quite like this. That's why I like to encourage my students to really look at UCs and not to count them out, because that is an amazing opportunity for students. What you need to do in order to be able to be eligible, for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan is to submit a FAFSA or DREAM Act application and Cal Grant GPA verification by March 2nd, the year before you transfer, right? So if you do your application September 1st to 30th for TAG, and then you apply November 1st to 30th to UCs, just make sure you have your financial aid application done by March. So really you want to make sure you get your financial aid application done, as early as October 1st, right? The year before you transfer. And you can be a California resident, have AB 540 status to qualify. The family income, like I said, it's $80,000 or as determined by federal need-based aid programs. Also, being your first 4 years as a UC undergraduate student or first 2 for transfer students, which you will be, right? You'll be starting at a UC, and meet other campus basic requirements for UC grant aid. For example, be enrolled in at least half-time during the academic year, meet campus academic progress standards, and not be in default on student loans, etc. But this is a wonderful opportunity for my students, and I really want students to feel confident that UC is accessible for Harbor College students and for you especially. The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is demystifying the majors at the UC. A lot of my students are under the impression that their major is not available at a UC or that it's not eligible for TAG. Some examples of students who can feel discouraged from attending a UC include my child development majors, administration of justice majors, kinesiology, business administration, liberal studies. A lot of my students whose majors fall in these categories, which are, by far some of our most popular majors at Harbor College, they feel, oh no, I can't go to UC because they don't have my major. Actually, you can find something, if not the exact same title, something very similar. So at UC Riverside, they have a lot of different majors. They have education, society, and human development. A lot of my child development majors really like this program, especially because they do have a concentration in early learning. Also, UC Riverside has business administration, and it works really nicely with our business associate degree for transfer, because it also, you just take the business calculus extra, just like you would for Long Beach State or Fullerton, right? But everything else overlaps extremely well with our business ADT, so that's another good one. UCR also has a public policy major. One of my administration of justice majors, she actually tagged this program, and it was wonderful because it worked really nicely for her. She is in law enforcement, and now she's going into that program. We have the liberal studies major at UC Riverside for my students who want to become a teacher someday and feel like, oh, liberal studies is not available for me. No, it is available, and UC Riverside is one of our closer campuses. And then at UCI, they have criminology, law, and society, which is very much overlapping with the administration of justice major again, so that's another option for my students. They also have education sciences, which is a good one, that complements child development, liberal studies, and then exercise science. Keep in mind, this one does complement kinesiology, but you will be taking more science classes. But for my students who want to be physical therapists someday, this is really good preparation for a physical therapy doctoral program as well. So definitely encourage my students to look into this, and we can work together on that. Now, verifying on your campus website that the student is eligible for the major before confirming that the student can tag a campus, that's something that is also really important to me. So I like to be transparent with my students and make sure that they understand that, for example, for economics and business economics and quantitative economics, the student would need a GPA of 2.8 or 3.4 for tag, right? So this is just an example to see that at UCI, in this case, that for UCI, sorry guys. So the student would technically still need that 3.4 GPA, but you want to make sure you get B's in micro econ and macro econ, okay? So if you were to tag UCI Economics and Business Econ major, you want to make sure that you meet with me so we can make sure that your econ grades are at a B or higher, because otherwise it would be a waste of a tag. And if it's not at a B, that's okay. We could try to find a different business economics program that doesn't have a minimum of a B. Still, you want to try to get A's and B's in your major prep classes because it just helps you make you more competitive. But if you do have a C, for example, in an econ class, it's okay too. We can try to find a good fit for you. And then the same thing goes for UCSB. This is an example where a lot of my students will say, do I have to have a 3.4 GPA at the time that I submit my application or by the end of the semester? That depends on the UC. So at UC Santa Barbara, they are wonderful. You have to have your 3.4 GPA by the end of fall. So if you want some help with making sure that we calculate that you'll be good by the end of fall, I'm glad to do that GPA math with you. It's, not too bad to do. It just takes a few minutes, but I think it does help students get a lot more clarity about, realistically what kind of grades they need to be turning in for each assignment to ensure that they're getting the grades needed to bring that GPA up to the 3.4 by the end of the semester for Santa Barbara, for example, okay? Oh, and let me go back really quickly. It says you have to meet the major prep requirements for biology, econ, and math majors. Well, yes, of course you do. Okay, sorry, moving on. UC Davis is another example, where completed by the time of tag application, so by September 1st, you need a 3.2 GPA for all your majors in College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences and College of Biological Sciences, 3.2 for College of Letters and Sciences, except for computer science, which needs a 3.5. And then College of Engineering students, they have to have a 3.5 for tag, okay? So this just shows, examples of how Santa Barbara, you have until the end of fall. For UC Davis, you have to have it at the time of the application, the 3.2 to 3.5, depending on your major. So that way students can have a better idea of what campus is going to be the best fit for them to tag, because we don't want you to waste your tag. We want you to pick the campus that will guarantee you that admission, because that's your time and that's your energy that you're putting into that tag application. So we want to make sure that everything goes perfectly and that guarantee is done for you. For UCI, this is another example, you need the 3.4 GPA by the end of summer to be eligible for tag. Okay, so that is why I definitely encourage my students to start seeing me for appointments. The sooner the better, so we can work together and determine which campus would be the best. And just a little rundown here really quickly, how to pursue your tag, the UC Transfer Admission Planner. You want to make sure that you use that TAP account just like we're discussing today, because that's what you use to complete your tag, September 1st through October. Oh, this was last year. They did September 1st through October 15th. Normally it's September 1st through 30th. This past year they extended it to October 15th. Maybe they'll be doing the same in the future. Who knows? But normally it's September 1st through 30th. And then in spring tag, it's May 1st through 31st. You have to make sure that the GPA requirements and coursework requirements are done depending on the campus that you tag, right? And then you want to fill out your UC admission applications November 1st through 30th, So it's 1-2 different applications, but it saves you so much time. And then of course, checking that tag matrix with your counselor, like myself, just to make sure everything's organized. And then I always like to tell my students, I know I show the deadlines over and over and over again, but it's not to say, remember these deadlines because that's it. I'm only going to share it this one time. No, I try to just, get the student familiar and comfortable with, okay, I'm hearing this is how it sounds. And then as time goes by, you feel more comfortable. And it's only to be a friendly reminder to you. This is what the deadline looks like. So that way okay, the deadline's coming or the application's opening. I better go see Transfer Center so I can start getting help, okay? We don't give the students the deadline so that way they know, okay, figure it out, you're on your own. That's just not how it works. We give the deadline so that way students know and are alerted that, okay, it's time, Transfer Center is going to start helping with applications and things like that, okay? So it is all meant to support you. Then this is just like a little mini snapshot of the transfer timeline. So July 1st is when winter spring application opens for Merced, Riverside, and Santa Cruz. So those are the 3 schools that do winter spring admits. August 1st is when the application opens for fall 2021 for students to start working on their UC application. They let you start working on it early, but you can't turn it in until November 1st, the soonest, okay? September 1st to 30th is when you can do your tag application through your TAP portal. And then October 1st is when you can start applying for financial aid. Try to do it as early as October 1st. Even though it's due March 2nd, the sooner the better and the more money you'll get. And then November 1st to 30th is when you can begin submitting your applications to UC, okay? So I would just like to say thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to your questions, for meeting you during appointments. And I am going to end this recording so that way I can turn it over to questions. Thank you for joining us on Instagram TV, on YouTube, and for all of our wonderful students who are going to be coming in to get support from Transfer Center. We look forward to meeting you.